Welcome to the 2021 Mason Dance Fête. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Your support of the School of Dance provides opportunities for Mason students to pursue their passions in the arts. And because of your devotion to supporting young artists, we are able to educate talented young dancers from around the country and around the world here at Mason's Dance Studios. The story of the School of Dance is one of excellence and innovation. This year, their story has been one of resilience as well. While many institutions have been unable to bring their dance students back into their studios, our School of Dance is safely and creatively training the next generation of dancers, choreographers, dance industry leaders, and dance educators. Our students continue to work with professional guest artists thanks to the Live Center technology that allows for life-sized, full-body interaction video conferencing. With the theaters dark in the fall, the School of Dance found innovative ways to share their art. The reimagined performance season even included a drive-in dance performance lit by headlights. School of Dance students, faculty, and staff, through their passion, creativity, and drive, did incredible work during a time when so many of our campus and our community sought solace and inspiration in the arts. Your generosity made that possible. Supporters like you make Mason a leader in both excellence and access, even during challenging times. Tonight, these young dancers take the stage because of the scholarships you helped fund. You too deserve a round of applause. Thank you, and enjoy the evening.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Kim Eby, and I have the privilege of serving as one of this year's co-chairs for the 2021 Virtual School of Dance Fête. With me, who you'll hear from a little bit later, is Julia Morelli, another co-chair, and we'd also like to acknowledge Donna Kidd, who has served as our third co-chair for this event. We want to thank each of you for joining us tonight to support the extraordinary talent of our School of Dance students and faculty. Your support is very important. It matters because it fosters student achievement and it fosters student excellence. You're going to see that embodied in the quality of the program tonight. The talents that our students cultivate and refine under the guidance and support of our faculty serve them exceptionally well in their careers and professional achievements after graduation. The dance program is actually one of Mason's brightest stars. It's ranked #1 in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and it's in the top 20 programs in the entire United States. And as I connect with individuals across campus, it's really been wonderful to share with them the national reputation of this program, the quality of our students, and the remarkable talent of our faculty members. And frankly, that's never been more on display than this past year, as our School of Dance came back virtually 100% face-to-face in the fall of 2020. It's required our faculty to think in innovative and exciting ways, creating inclusive, equitable, and innovative teaching and learning experience for our students. They've done things like stage opportunities to perform through the Mason drive-in performances, through the Beyond the Stage concerts that were projected onto the side of the concert hall wall. And they've even built a window wall that brought guest artists and the few remote students into the studio almost as if they were there in person. The window wall, developed by Christopher Demboise, was so successful that Mason just launched a new center called the Live Center, which stands for Live, Interactive, and Virtual Education. And this is one of the reasons that your support tonight and in the future is so critical. Many of our students and their families have been impacted by the reverberations of the global pandemic, and the ability to offer scholarship packages is more critical than ever. Beyond our current circumstances, the national prominence of the program has meant that our students have more options available to them. And so this means that the scholarships are the heart and soul of our ability to attract and retain. these talented young dancers. And now I would like to turn it over to my co-chair, Julia Morelli. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julia Morelli, and it's an honor to be here. I'm the president of the George Mason University Instructional Foundation, and I have the privilege of serving with Kim Eby and Donna Kidd on the Fête committee. I'm a longtime supporter of Mason dance, and the reason that it's so important to me is that I've seen the value that students get from being in this program. They develop leadership skills, and that includes the ability to listen, and they understand the importance of developing an appreciation for other people's perspectives. The students engage in teamwork and collaboration. They practice communication skills, and sometimes those communication skills are in challenging times. So there are circumstances under which they have to problem solve. They've got deadlines, and they get the opportunity to work through those challenges. So what they're doing is they're developing essential skills that will help them both personally and professionally throughout their lifetime. The arts have always played an important role in civil society, and they're even more critical now. The embodied experience from dance is what it means to be human, and your sponsorship enables Mason's commitment to inclusive excellence. We depend heavily on your support and are grateful to you and for your contributions. Scholarships are the most powerful and rewarding ways you can change the trajectory of someone's life. They open doors, and they give students the opportunity to fulfill their dreams. This would not be possible without the support of many individuals. The talented and dedicated staff of the School of Dance, the College of Visual and Performing Arts Development Team, and the Dance Partnership Council. We want to give a special shout out to parents because we know you're pivotal in the success of the students as well as this program. And we share in your pride. As we look forward to this exceptional program, we hope that you will continue to invest in the students and faculty in the School of Dance. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Dance Fête 2021. I'd like to talk to you about legacy tonight on 3 different levels: societal, institutional, and personal. The societal legacy I want to talk about is the legacy of the arts during this crazy pandemic that we're living through. The arts have proven themselves as a necessary function in keeping society together, in keeping us entertained, in keeping us moved, in keeping us members of a shared community. And of course, that's our motto here in CVPA, the arts create community. And certainly, during this very weird time, the arts have proven their ability to create a community. And that's a legacy we should all be proud of. The second legacy, the institutional one, is the legacy of your support. Your support of these wonderful student dancers that you're about to see, performing at a high level on our stage, making art for the first time in many, many months. And that is a legacy that you should be proud of because it's your support that has made it possible. And the final legacy is the legacy of leadership. And it's very personal to us here in the College of Visual and Performing Arts because I'm about to introduce you to our new director of the School of Dance, Karen Reedy. Karen is a George Mason alum. She's been a faculty member for a number of years. She has a wonderful professional career as a dancer, choreographer, producer, artistic director, and she is assuming the leadership of the School of Dance at this amazing moment in our history. And she does so standing on the shoulders of giants, from Linda Miller to Buffy Price to Susan Shields, who for the past 7 years has been the director of our School of Dance. These 3 wonderful artists have created a school that we are all so proud of and that you have chosen to support so generously with your contributions. And so without further ado, it's my great privilege to introduce you to Karen Reedy.
Thanks so much, Rick. Thank you so much for being with us tonight for this very special evening. Tonight is about the talent, passion, and resilience of our School of Dance, and especially our dancers. These are incredibly challenging times, but the power of dance continues. We are grateful to be in our studios with our protocols of masks, distancing, and dancing within 12-foot boxes. While a lot may look different, the most important aspects remain unchanged. We are here together, dancing, creating, innovating, and moving forward during this time. I want to thank all of you for being here this evening in support of our school. Thank you to our administration, President Washington and Dean Davis, for your continued leadership and support. Thank you to CVPA development and marketing teams, our production crew, our faculty, staff, families, and most importantly, our talented and inspiring dancers. Thank you to our amazing co-chairs of this evening's event, Donna Kidd, Kim Eby, and Julia Morelli, whose vision, planning, attention to detail, and love of our School of Dance have made tonight possible. Thank you to our Dance Partnership Council and all of our sponsors, donors, and patrons this evening. Because of your continued support for student scholarship funding, we are able to bring some of the country's most talented young dancers to Mason. Thank you. And with that, I am thrilled to announce a very generous new gift to the School of Dance, the Elizabeth, Buffy Price Dance Scholarship Endowment, generously established by Buffy Price and Mike Brown. Buffy's contributions to the School of Dance are beyond what can be put into words. A beloved faculty member since 1991, chair and then founding director of the School of Dance for 10 years. And her continued legacy as educator, advisor, and big vision planning. Mike Brown is a valued volunteer leader as a member of the Dance Partnership Council and the Arts at Mason Board, and always an enthusiastic audience member. This endowment will provide continued scholarship support for our talented dance majors and is a fitting and lasting legacy of Buffy's influence on the School of Dance. Thank you, Buffy and Mike, for your continued legacy and now this legacy gift. It is now my pleasure to invite you into our studios for some insight into the works you'll be seeing performed this evening. In one of our studios is conversation and demonstration surrounding process of our virtual guest artist residency with Hope Boykins running to and toward. Next, you'll be taken into our studio A301 for a celebration of Susan Shields' timeless sunlit song. While we can't be together in person with you this year, our hope is to bring you virtually into our studios this evening. Enjoy.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for this live portion. We are live right now in Studio 3011 in the School of Dance for this event tonight, and then for the performance later this evening that you're going to see of these extraordinary works. I'm Christopher D'Amboise. I'm Heritage Professor here at the School of Dance, and I have to say, I almost couldn't remember how to tie this tie. I mean, when did I need to wear a tie in the last year or even more? So we're pulling out all the stops for you tonight, just saying. With me tonight, we have Professor Rob Kleinendorst and 3 students that we thought you might like to hear from. Starla Edwards, Caleb Mason, I did it wrong. Caleb, see, it's live. This is live. Manser, and Hope Spears. I want to preface this, when we talk about Hope Boykin, who's the choreographer of tonight's work, we're not talking about Hope Spears, who's right here, so please don't get confused about that. You've heard a little bit tonight about the ways we handled COVID, the challenges of teaching, both in person and virtually at the same time, the challenges of how in the world to get a choreographer to create an original work on our students from New York City in a successful way. That was also quite exciting. We at the School of Dance really approach challenges as opportunities to be creative, and that's what we've tried to do really since the fall. So we want to give you a little behind the scenes on how we did it. You've heard mention of the window wall. I won't get into it too much, except you're looking at it sort of behind me. That is Hope Boykin, the choreographer from New York City, choreographing what she looked like to our students when she was choreographing on them. The window wall technology basically is an augmented Zoom call. But we project the people from somewhere else in the world, life-size, directly onto the walls of our studios. So it looks like you're standing there talking to someone who's life-size right in front of you, but they're actually in another state or could be another country. So at one point when Hope was working on this, we had all 4 of our studios, this one included, being filled with students 10 feet apart in their little boxes, or their big boxes, and Hope was teaching all of them at the same time. So if you walked down the halls of School of Dance, you would have seen Hope in that studio. Oh, there's Hope still talking in this studio, and now she's in the next studio, and now she's in the next studio. And we had about 40 dancers at a time being able to be taught and choreographed on. It's been really an extraordinary teaching tool for us. I have to thank so many people who helped us get it together and create it, especially Dean Davis, who's been really extremely supportive and believer in this. But the whole university in general has been a great supporter of this. So that's allowed us to actually create this work. Before we learn a little bit more about that work, we thought you might like to hear a little bit from our students about how we handled classes in person, classes online, how we handled classes in COVID. So I'm going to ask Starla the first question, if she would just answer what some of the challenges were that she faced, both where the solutions were challenging or even where the solutions were a positive effect that were perhaps unexpected. Starla.
Hi, everyone. Some challenges that I've faced personally being here during COVID and dancing in the studios. You're only allowed to see half of someone's face. We're in a studio only dancing with about 10 of our peers, our friends. And we only have 1 class a day, which is usually not super normal for dancers. Usually we're dancing all the time, multiple hours of the week. Although these things have been challenging, I'm extremely grateful that I'm able to be in the space dancing among my friends and my peers. Personally, I thrive off of the energy of my friends and being able to dance along them and with them. But it's also been a really great experience being able to dance with my friends during a time where it's really, really crazy and it feels really hard. These things have been challenges, but we have overcome them, and the School of Dance has given us more creative ways to be able to reach out to each other and feel connected again. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Starla. Caleb, can you talk a little bit about what it is like, we can only imagine, to try to take a dance class wearing a mask?
At first, it was really hard to get used to wearing a mask in class. It's different from just walking to the grocery store, where we're building up a sweat and getting our blood pumping and our breath going when we're going across the floor and dance. And so it was hard to feel like I could catch my breath in class. But like a lot of things this year, we've adapted and it's become a part of our routine and one of the things that we have to do in order to dance safely together. And it's gotten to a point where it's so much a part of our routine, I don't notice it nearly as much as I used to. And as I'm dancing across the floor, I am able to focus on my dancing and not the feeling of a mask on my face.
Thank you, Caleb. And Hope, if you could speak a little bit about what the challenges are for someone who's a choreographer trying to create new choreography.
Yeah, so one of the challenges is definitely not being able to partner or have your dancers touch in any way. But on the bright side, I feel like it's made me reinvestigate my choreography and my process. Also, with the Mason Drive-In last semester, we were able to work on dance on film. And that is right up my alley because I'm the social media coordinator for the School of Dance. And so you've seen some of the films that we've posted, and I've created those. So dance on camera was, kind of like a fun thing for me to do. And then to be able to choreograph actually with that and live dancers was amazing. So, yeah, there's a lot of different challenges that we've all, I think, faced as choreographers, but we just keep finding new ways to reinvent the wheel, pretty much. So, yeah.
Thank you, Hope. In about 40 minutes, you'll be seeing Hope Boykin's work. And we wanted to give you a little insight into the creative process for that and also show you a little bit of what you're going to see. So Rob Kleinendorst was the rehearsal director for this piece, working with Hope from New York. So I asked him to fill you in a little bit on what that process was like.
Hello, and welcome. Hope Boykin started working on the piece last fall with the intention of creating a work for film, which she did. She worked with the entire junior and senior classes, and each class was separated into 2 sections to follow COVID protocols. So any given week, Hope was working with 4 different classes, and as Christopher touched upon when he was talking about the window wall, she began the entire rehearsal period with all 4 classes working at the same time, which was really amazing and a great way to start. We all started with a common language. We all started with a phrase to build on. I say we. I did learn as I went along as well. But as the semester went along, she began to choreograph class to class, section to section, and which was one thing that was interesting and challenging about that, and possibly the dancers don't know this, that Hope and I had a real devil of a time keeping what was choreographed in which room and when. She would say, is this the junior class? Do they know this phrase? I'd say, no, I think that's a senior class, but the other section. So that was quite a challenge as we were choreographing virtually section to section for that film. In the spring, Hope was asked to create a piece that would be able to be on stage out of the piece that she created in the fall. And to meet the Center for the Arts theater protocols, we could not obviously have 38 dancers on stage at the same time. So Hope whittled it down to some dancers that she wanted to work with and created using that same vocabulary and language that she used in the fall with great results. I think one of the challenges that we faced at the beginning, if you don't know this, as a choreographer, as a dancer who watches your friends or your coworkers, you start to learn how people move, what their body language is, how they dance. And since Hope was coming into this without knowing the dancers very well at all, or some not at all, add masks to that and add that they're this big on her screen. And we had a real hard time sometimes deciding who was who, at least she did. So with the communications going on, we were figuring out muting the studio and her speaking, and she was like, who's that in the corner? Is that Georgia? Is that Caleb? And we'd have to turn the mics on and there'd be a delay. So we figured that out. We started to fall into a pattern. We started getting used to each other and how things worked. And by the end, I think we had a pretty smooth communications throughout the process. I would say, though, that for me, the choreographic process seemed fairly normal. We could see Hope and she could demonstrate. She had an demonstrator who also demonstrated full out for us, and she could see all the dancers. She could say, I want this group to move over stage left and do this phrase, and she could build, and she could create, and she could fix, and she could make them run things and give notes. So as far as a choreographic process, I feel like the window wall and the process that we had for this dance was really quite streamlined and, normal, if you will. I will say this, though, this is a tremendous opportunity for the dancers in the program. Quite often, when you get a guest artist to come into a program, they will be setting an existing work that they have already created. So Hope came in, collaborated with the dancers here, created with the dancers here to create Running To and Towards, which is just a completely different experience. It's very satisfying to dance something that has already been created, and you get to dance their work and work with the choreographer. But to be able to create and collaborate and originate a role is very special. It's something you always will have. These dancers can put forever that they originated a role in a Hope Boykin piece. So to that end, let's see some of this choreography that Hope created. I'm going to show you, Starla is going to dance one of the phrases that we learned on that very first day in those 4 rooms going at the same time. And as you watch these combinations that the dancers are dancing, remember, keep an eye out. You're going to see them in the video later. Starla. Thank you, Starla. That was beautiful. Next, we'll have Caleb. Caleb's going to dance a phrase that originally the juniors learned. Caleb, was it only your section or all of the juniors that learned this one? It was just his section. So when we started staging this with Hope this semester, the seniors and the other junior section all needed to learn this phrase. And you'll see everyone doing their own variation on this phrase in the piece. Thank you, Caleb. Beautiful. Last, we're going to have Hope Spears come up. She is dancing a phrase that the seniors learned, and I think Hope Boykin really liked the way Hope Spears did this phrase. So you will see Hope do this in the piece, and she's the only one that does it. Beautiful. Thank you, Hope. So look for those phrases this evening. They're going to be buried in that dance somewhere. Enjoy running to and towards, and I give it up to Christopher.
Thank you, dancers. Thank you, Rob. One of the most frustrating things about this virtual world is we can't hear you guys applaud. So hopefully you're at home. If you're at home, give me a 1, 2, 3. Yay, students! I hope you're doing that with your glass of wine and didn't spill it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for supporting us. We're going to send you now over to Susan Shields and Linda Miller, and they're waiting for you in Studio 301. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Linda Miller, and with me here is Susan Shields, my colleague, and also the choreographer of Sunlit Song, a work that you're going to see on the program tonight. A work that I commissioned in 2001. Yes, 20 years ago. And things have changed since then, but I know we never tire really of hearing the inspiration for this work, Susan. So would you share once again just a little bit about this interesting, work that came out of you?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Linda Miller, for commissioning this dance because I've got gotten a lot of mileage out of it. It's been done many, many times on our own students here at Mason and also in many performing arts high schools.
And professional company.
And even professional ballet companies. Long story short, I was living in Poland and the days were long. The night comes at about 2 o'clock in the winters in Poland. And so my son and I decided, well, he was a baby, he didn't decide, but I decided that I was going to take my son to Krakow just for some beauty. We needed a dose of beauty. And on the train ride there, about halfway through, the sun broke out and there was a huge field of grapeseed flowers, which you see a lot of in Poland. And the sun hit them and they were sparkling and it was bright, and it was beautiful, and I thought, this will be a dance.
Well, I'm really glad that you had that inspiration. I think the composer is also Polish. So this was a work that we did, as I said, 20 years ago. And our supporters would be happy to know that we only had 8 dancers who were really strong enough at that time probably to do this work. It was a real technical challenge. I don't think we had understudies or covers, someone to step in if there was an injury, right? And so the difference between then and now is scholarship money and having the interesting and wonderful strong dancers that we now have in our program. So if we had to have 3 casts, could we do that with our dancers today?
Oh, I can say with great confidence that every dancer in our program now could do this dance.
Well, there you
So
go.
casting wasn't particularly easy this time around.
Right. Also, there was a difference because there was only a cast of women in this. So we had 8 strong women, no men in this work. And how is that different for tonight's performance?
Well, I'm happy to say that this evening we have 4 men and 4 women. It's pretty amazing. I think years ago when we took the piece to China, we had 2 men in our program who were both beautiful. So we at least had 2 men and 6 women. But now we're even, 4 and 4. So
right.
It's a big step for us.
So this is a wonderful piece, and I know that everybody's going to enjoy the filming of it. But tonight we have some dancers to show you some of the examples of the work that are the covers for this piece, right? So you won't see them in the video tonight. Would you like to bring the dancers on?
But you wish you could.
Yeah.
I assure you. Come on out, dancers. So it is my pleasure to introduce the ever-charming junior Carmela Tate from Brooklyn, New York, and a new freshman who joins us, Lauren Ciccolini from Chicago, Illinois, and from Cuernavaca, Mexico, I said it right, Fabio Tello joins us as a freshman as well. Fabio spent his first semester with us online, so this is literally his first semester with us. Each of these dancers learned several roles. Carmela and Lauren had to learn 2 women each, and Fabio had to learn 4 men's parts, and we threw him in several times. And this lovely lady at the end of the line is my wonderful assistant and trusty sidekick, Lauren Crowell from Alabama. Lauren is a sophomore. She knows the dance, and I asked her to help me. As you know, Linda, we often have students help us as rehearsal directors.
But I wanted to share with our audience tonight, for those of you who haven't been in the studio with us, that the interesting thing about dancers, we don't try to do it all ourselves. We always work with other eyes, and so we are used to criticism. We're used to opening up for other people's opinions, right? And in this case, you actually had a student who helped you look at the work and clean it and tell you what needed to be worked on. And so, Lauren, could you tell us one thing that you learned from being in that position?
Of course. It was such a great experience, I have to say. Working alongside with Susan, I learned so many things. And specifically, I learned how to run a rehearsal space.
Oh, there you go.
Specifically in this level for Gala, it was a lot we had to do. We had to set this piece on another dance. There's more dancers as well. This piece has been set on so many different dancers, so each time it's a different challenge. And so I think we did a good job at pushing the dancers and really getting them the opportunity to feel the movement, especially with the mask. It's so much difficult now. And so really getting the stamina up was a great challenge, but they really did very well. And I think that's one of the things that I've learned working through this process is how to problem solve and go through this whole process. Transitioning from a student and going into the choreography assistant standpoint was a great opportunity.
So this is the leadership that
Yes.
Amy was talking about,
Yes,
right? And
very
it
much.
starts in the studio.
Yes.
And you're a sophomore.
That I am.
Correct?
Correct.
I get you next year with Dance History.
You
right?
do. I'm
Okay.
excited. I'm
All right.
excited.
Well, can we see some dancing? Susan, do you want to show some of the work?
By the way, Lauren is a choreographer herself,
Oh,
so she is, you're going to be seeing her work soon as well.
Good.
But let's show a little bit of what we did. Maybe we can start with the opening with Carmela. So the music is mixed meter, and I'm going to let Lauren count this out. It's kind of crazy, and there's beautiful Carmela ready to show.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, down, up, down, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, and 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down.
Okay, two things I noticed. When did the counts go from 7, down, up, down? Okay, that's a new count that I wasn't aware of.
These are called dancers counts,
okay, so
Linda.
that's what I wanted you to share with our audience tonight, that we count to 8, usually, but we add other things that help us give the inflection, right, that we want.
And truthfully, this music is also extremely, it's mixed meter. And so
Right.
that means it's not 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. It breaks up into 7s and 6s and 5s and 1 and 2, 1E and a 2, 1E and a 2E and a.
Okay.
And so what Lauren was just counting was 6E and a.
I get it.
And then the next dancer starts. So it's a little more sophisticated than you might think. It's not just that even beat.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I really have enjoyed with this piece over the last 20 years is its vocabulary, because it's a mix of classical ballet, modern, folk. It's heavier than classical ballet, right? But we're going to see an arabesque. So could we see that beautiful section where we have the arabesque, but we have the bodies, torsos over, and sort of a peasant feeling to some of the movement?
This is one section that I much prefer Mason dancers than the ballet dancers.
Oh.
They understand how to lift their weight, they understand how to drop their weight, and well, I think you'll see that.
Sing it, Lauren. Let's sing it. 5, 6, 7, 8. Ba-dum, 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 bum. Ba-dum, 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 bum.
Okay, was that too fast for you, dancers, or was that the real tempo? Was good? Okay, can we see it actually? I think it went by so fast. Let's see it again, this time with Fabio in the center.
The lifted weight and the dropped weight.
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8. Ba-dum, 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 bum. Ba-dum, 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 bum.
Okay. All right, that was really nice. The other thing that I remember as rehearsal director, because Susan set this work, went back to Poland, and then I was in charge of rehearsing the piece, which was terrifying. Susan is very particular, and anyone who has sat next to her in the concert hall or anywhere where she has a work on the program will never forget what she does when she's waiting for the curtain to go up. So here I was rehearsing her piece for, 2 months or something, and then she was coming back to rehearse it and set it on the concert hall stage. So even though I was technically her boss, I still valued her respect as a colleague, and I was really, really worried that I had not demanded enough from the dancers that she would be disappointed. So, okay. Well, good, I'm glad. With that, let's see some of the complicated footwork that I recall the dancers having to do at a speed that it was just really crazy.
That is one of the things about the dance. The footwork is very, very quick. And sometimes it's so quick you might not even notice how intricate some of the steps are. So I think it'd be nice if we broke down, Carmela? Broke it down?
So you're going to do it slow for us to see.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a 7, 8.
Good. Well, that was doable, yeah. That was easy to do.
It was.
What's the real tempo?
Up to tempo. Dancers. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a 7, 8.
Ah, okay. And there they go.
Not bad, you two freshmen.
Right. Now, I noticed, because I was here for rehearsal right before you started filming.
Yes.
And there is partner work in this piece. The women partnered each other in the original cast, right?
Yes, they did.
But this time you have men in the cast. But we're in the age of COVID, right? So there was no touching allowed, except for your special dispensation. Can you talk to us and tell the audience a little bit about that?
that was kind of an amazing thing. Karen Reedy was able to get us 2 weeks of touching. 2 weeks of touching.
And who gave you those 2 weeks? I'm interested to know. Do you even know?
I'm not sure how that happened, but they went through all the right legal sources and found that because our students are being tested regularly, we all are, so we had two weeks to touch. But that meant all the sections that we hadn't yet done, all the partnering, and it includes some full presses, had never been danced.
They had never really done it.
And it just adds another layer of energy and exertion for the dancers.
Sure.
So we spent, the first week just learning how to do that, and then the second week we were filming in the theater. By then they had it. That being said, the entire rehearsal process we weren't touching, so we have all these sections where we had fake hand-holding. We'll show you one of those. And I think it's your favorite section.
It is. It's the peasant section, or what I call the folk section. And it's particularly, I don't know, it always pulls me because there's such a meter change. It's like going 5 and 6 and 7, 8 and 1, 2, 3. The bottom drops out of it. And so I think that's really one of my favorite parts in this work. So yes, let's see that.
I like this section also because I was taking nods from things I was picking up in the Polish culture, some of their folk dancing, some of their pride, some of their feeling. And so this little section, maybe we'll show them. But this is how we rehearsed it without touching.
Right.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 8, 2, 3, 1.
Okay, well, that's very different. Thank you, dancers.
And
Thank you, Lauren.
May I just tell one little quick story?
Yeah.
Hey, Carmela and Fabio, could you come out just for one more second and do the last shape? On the first day of rehearsal, when we were allowed to touch, Trusty Sidekick and I, that's what we did, and that was the first touch to start the whole process. So thanks, guys.
Right.
That's how we did it.
I think in the dancers' world, a lot of people don't understand about touch. We touch all the time, right? But I think having gone through the pandemic, that grandparents are now very aware of when they could not touch their grandchildren. And so for us, not touching our families, but not touching every day in class has been a real hardship. So that's a really beautiful part. So you should really enjoy that piece in the program this evening. Is there anything else you want to share with us about this work before we sort of look at the hope and the joy that this work has brought the School of Dance?
Well, it was interesting when Karen asked if we would perform this dance again, because as you know, it was after 9/11 when we first premiered this work.
Right.
And it was obviously a terrible time for our country and a dark period for our country. And then we had this dance that is just yellow and green and bright and energy and hopeful. And it's kind of amazing. Here we are now 20 years later, friend talking.
Oh, wow.
And we've gone through another crisis with these beautiful dancers who are who are doing what they have to do. They don't really have a choice. And we have hope, and we know we're going to move forward. And we have hope on the program. I just thought of that. But we have hope and brightness and energy and spirit.
Well,
and
it came along at the right time. So thank you, Susan, for this work. Thank you, dancers. And thank you. I'm hoping that you really enjoyed tonight's performance. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Good night.
I'm Maria Ambrose. I graduated from George Mason School of Dance in 2011.
Hey Mason, my name is Candace Perry and I am a School of Dance alum from 2014.
My name is Danielle Punicki and I'm a clinical instructor of medicine and primary care physician at the David Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA. Prior to this journey, I used to be a Mason dancer just like many of you, and I graduated back in 2006.
Hey, my name is Paul Craig and I'm a principal dancer with Boston Ballet. I danced Sunlit Song in 2006, 2007 when I was in BB2. great memories with Susan. I remember she created a real camaraderie within the group. It wasn't about the soloist or principal dancer or the self. It was about the group, and I really got to know my colleagues during that time, and a special place in my heart for that.
Susan made me feel so at ease. You know, she knew that I was learning, but she also pushed me and encouraged me to be the best that I could be. And I think my first interactions with her were actually through that process of learning Sunlit Song. And I felt like there was an expectation for me to live up to my potential, or live up to the potential that I thought I could. So I was just so blessed to like have her to push me, but also to encourage me to keep going.
I remember performing Susan's Sunlit Song my senior year and just being so thrilled to get to work with Susan in the studio. She has an incredible way of pulling out your inner strengths, making you feel so confident and powerful, not only on the stage and as an artist, but what you can bring into the world as a human. And I've always really loved just being around her. Her energy is infectious, it's exciting, and there's just something that's so liberating about her, because she lets you really be you.
But what I remember the most were the countless hours of rehearsal working on precision and perfection and speed, and learning how to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because in Sunlit Song, there is no time to count to 7. I also remember Susan always coming to rehearsal with 2 things: a venti Starbucks and a vivacious demeanor that inspired all of us to be some of the best dancers that we could be. And to Susan, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Susan. Love, Cranberry.
Thank you, Susan, for this beautiful work, Sunlit Song. Thank you for your remarkable 7 years as director, and thank you for your continued legacy in our School of Dance. I feel grateful to work with you each and every day. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge 2 very influential faculty members in our School of Dance who are retiring this spring. Jim Lepore, faculty member since 1997, who brings to us a range of expertise, including his work in lab on movement analysis, Limon technique, composition and choreography, and Afro-Cuban dance, including his annual study abroad trips with students to Cuba. And Buffy Price, who led our program for 10 consequential years, with expertise in modern technique, somatics practices, curriculum development, advising, and development of the School of Dance. Her spirit, care, and generosity have shaped our school. Jim and Buffy, it is really hard to imagine the school without the 2 of you here. Thank you for your incredible legacies. You'll be greatly missed. Thank you to all of you for your support and for joining us this evening for our virtual Fête. Hopefully you have a few minutes to stretch and then tune into GMU TV or YouTube for the performance. Please enjoy the show.